In the early 1800s, the Muskegon River began to be logged. Most of the waste from the sawmill industry, all that wood, instead of being reused or repurposed, just ended up in the lake. In the early 1900s, we started seeing poor water quality because of erosion and sedimentation. And then at the same time, there were many foundries on the shoreline of Muskegon Lake, but the pattern continued of filling in the lake with that spent foundry sand. So the process of continuing to restore the lake was a lot of investigation into what was down there.
What was done here was a coming together of federal, state, and local funds to revitalize a shoreline and breathe life back into an industrial base. Most of this site was once wetlands that were filled in with foundry materials. Then when we saw this opportunity to soften the shoreline and end up with a green shoreline virtually forever via the conservation easements that were placed on this property, we saw that as a benefit for our development in the end.
NOAA's work in the Great Lakes is focused on support for community-based, community-led restoration projects. Many of them are in historically degraded areas, and all of the projects benefit the environment, the economy, and the local community. In Muskegon, we have partnered with NOAA since approximately 2009. We first began our work here with the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act grant and are currently working under a regional partnership with the Great Lakes Commission. And the work thus far is about a $30 million investment in the restoration of Muskegon Lake. And not only in the restoration, but the monitoring of all of these projects as well. We're focused on 4 projects right now. The projects include Muskegon River at Veterans Memorial Park, Muskegon Lake, mill debris, the Bear Creek Hydrologic Reconnection and Wetland Restoration Project, and the Lower Muskegon River Wetland Restoration Project. These projects will provide critical habitat for native fish, turtles, frogs, mammals, and reestablish fish passage between waterways and wetlands, and reconnect more than 65 acres of wetland and 45 acres of open water habitat. The Muskegon community is experiencing a 6-to-1 return on the investment of the initial $10 million grant.
Multiple generations of our family have lived in the Muskegon area, and I have all of my life. And so I've been a part of watching its industrial age, and the turning of our backs to the waterway is the best way to say that. We looked at it as the backyard. It was the back door. It's the place that industry dumped their trash. We've taken a whole different attitude on what the water is to us. It is life. It is bringing that life to us.